Hello there, people of the internet. My name is John, I'm a professional reseller, and in this video, I'm going to tell you how to get all of the equipment you need to start reselling for under $250. Important to note that I'm not going to be talking about inventory today. I'm not talking about what things you should be buying that you're trying to flip. I'm going to cover that in other videos. For this one, it's just the equipment, the absolute bare minimum essential equipment that you need to succeed as a reseller just starting out. Some of this stuff you probably already have, but assuming you don't, you should be able to get it on the cheap. Item number one, a phone with a decent camera. Again, you probably already have a phone, but maybe it doesn't have the best camera. When I go back and I look at my old listings from 2015, God, I was using some kind of a terrible camera phone, and you can really tell by the pictures. You're going to need a halfway decent camera to take halfway decent pictures if you want people to take your listings seriously. When I was first starting out, I bought a used iPhone with a cracked screen, and it took pretty decent pictures for what I needed. What phone would I recommend at this moment in 2025? From what I can tell, the best used phone for taking pictures right now would be a 2022 iPhone SE, specifically one that is network locked. You won't be able to use cell phone data outside of the network that it's locked in. You get a cheaper phone that way, but it means that it probably won't be able to replace the phone that you already use in your day-to-day life unless you're okay with buying a contract within that network. Just perusing before I made this video, I was able to find multiple listings for the iPhone SE 2022 version for under $100. Even if you watch this video 5 years from now, it's probably a safe bet that buying a used iPhone with a cracked screen or with some other defect or that it's locked to a particular cell phone provider is probably going to be your best bet. Item number two, a basic label printer. You're going to use this to create shipping labels. And yes, technically, you can use a regular printer to print your shipping labels, but maybe you don't even have one of those right now. The good news is you can print shipping labels directly from the eBay app. So if you get a thermal printer off of Amazon that can connect to your phone of choice, you will be able to print your shipping labels directly from your phone. They've got tons of generic, cheap thermal label printers with phone compatibility on Amazon right now for under $100. Eventually, I'm going to recommend that you upgrade to a Zebra. My Zebra thermal printer has been going for over 8 years now, and it is still kicking. I have printed thousands of labels with this thing, and it shows no signs of stopping anytime soon. So I recommend that eventually you spring for something nicer, but at the very least, a cheap, basic Chinese thermal printer off of Amazon is going to get you to where you can afford to spring for a nicer one later on down the road. Item number three, a basic photo booth. This is the photo booth that I'm using right now and the photo booth that I've been using for over 6 years at this point. It is a 24 by 48 shelving unit that I took the third shelf out of and then laid a 24 by 48 piece of glossy hardwood board from Home Depot. Attach a couple of clamp lights and you're good to go. This setup will run you a couple $100, probably. I mean, the shelving unit alone will probably cost about $100, and then all the other pieces will probably be another $50 to $100. So if you're just starting out and you don't want to spend $200 on a photo booth, what I would recommend is go to Home Depot, get a piece of this glossy white board for $10, get you a couple of clamp lights off of Amazon with some bulbs, and if you don't have a white background, buy a white sheet or a white piece of fabric to hang behind the board. And there you go. You will need to replace this board eventually. I replace mine probably every 6 to 9 months or so, but it's $10. And it has been $10 for a long time. These boards are very cheap for a reason. So there you go, a basic photo booth setup for less than $40. And that's it. Those are all of the things that you really need to get started. You can't get away without taking pictures. You can't get away without printing shipping labels. And you really can't get away without a decent photo booth. I see a lot of people that try on eBay, and honestly, it's such a cheap and insignificant expense when it comes down to improving the overall quality of your listing. It's a no-brainer to spring for that. A couple of other things that you may want to invest in if you have a little bit more spending money. A couple of shelving units. I would recommend 24 by 48 shelving units. Again, eventually you can turn one of those into your photo booth like I've done. I think the most that I've ever paid for a 24 by 48 shelving unit was $100. I was very particular with it, and I always got them on sale or found them used on Facebook Marketplace or things like that. But the cool thing about the 24 by 48s is that they're very modular. They're going to be basically exactly the same size between brands, so it's really easy to slap them all together and have them line up nice in a warehouse setting. There are definitely cheaper options out there like baker's racks, but man, I hate baker's racks. I just really do. They suck. Getting baker's racks that are all kind of the same size is a pain, and having mismatched shelves is just I'm not a big fan of it. So unless you already have some shelves or you're okay with having your inventory on the floor or stacked up in boxes, I would really recommend just getting a couple of cheap shelving units. The only other area of concern will be shipping supplies, but it's pretty easy to get free shipping supplies. If you're okay with using USPS Priority Mail for your primary shipping option, you can get free packing supplies from USPS. I don't personally recommend this because, yes, you can get free boxes from them, but then you end up paying a lot more for priority when compared to things like UPS or FedEx Ground. USPS is obscenely expensive for anything that weighs more than like 3 pounds. An alternative would be to save your own boxes for stuff that you get from places like Amazon, or to go to places like your local Goodwill and get free boxes from them. Most of the time when people take stuff to thrift stores and Goodwill, they use cardboard boxes to bring it there. And what ends up happening is Goodwill has a ton of these cardboard boxes sitting in the back just waiting to be recycled. Most every Goodwill that I've ever been to was thrilled to give me a bunch of free boxes. Go to your local thrift store and just ask. I'm telling you, you'll walk away with more boxes than you know what to do with. As far as dunnage is concerned, or the padding that goes into boxes, I would personally recommend avoiding paper products altogether. Get yourself some bubble wrap. Your customers will thank you for it later. The issue with paper products is that they will compress. There's just no way to prevent paper from compressing when it's in a shipping container. You will also need some packing tape and a dispenser, but those are really cheap. You can get them used. It's not that big of a deal. One final thought on shipping supplies. As with most things in life, everything gets cheaper when you're ready to buy it in bulk. For now, just get what you need to fulfill the first couple of orders that you have coming in. But when you're ready to, things like packing tape, bubble wrap, boxes, most of these things get cheaper as you buy more of it. So buy as much as you think you're going to use within the next 3 to 6 months, and you'll end up saving money for sure. Later on, I'm going to do a video on what stuff you should buy if you're starting out, but you have a little bit more of a budget, because there are other pieces of equipment that I would highly recommend. But the purpose of this is if you're just starting out and you really don't have that much money to sink into equipment, these are the things that I think give you the most return for your money and that are really hard to do without. Be sure to check the description. I will include some links there if there's anything that I can find that I think is worth recommending. As always, thank you for your time. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Have a great day.